In the last 7 years, I've released 10 full-length albums. I've posted over 700 videos here on YouTube, and I've created over 150 ambient guitar long-form soundscapes that I post on my other channel. And I get asked all the time, Bill, how do you find time to do all this stuff? Aren't you a part-time musician? The answer is yes. I am a part-time musician with a full-time job. I do have some tips and tricks to share with you in terms of keeping the music moving forward and finding that time. So here we go. All right, number one, it's all about identity. So in other words, who do you think you are? And I mean that in a good way, right? Who are you? As I think about me, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm an IT consultant. But really, when I look deep inside and strip everything away, there's really only a couple of things there. And one of them absolutely is musician. I am a musician. So I would ask you, are you a musician? Is that your identity? If it's not, I would encourage you to kind of roll back that thing inside of you and really kind of examine who you are. And then if musician is not one of them, that's something that you're going to need to work on, learn about, and really foster in your life. Because the identity of being a musician is going to drive everything else. Number two, after identity, is priorities. Yeah, you knew that was coming, right? So as you think about your life, okay, you've got an identity, hopefully musicians in there, and it's a pretty big piece of that identity. You next need to think about your priorities. Well, let me share with you mine. I've got a few. First up is my faith, and don't worry, this is not a religious video, but it just is what it is, right? I got faith up there. Right under that is family. So my wife and my children, my extended family, those two things are super important to me. But right after that comes music, my art. Those are really the three most important things. And you might be thinking, well, Bill, what about career? Career is very important to me, but it's not a priority in the same way these other three things are. It is a means to an end. My career is not an end, right? So I use my career to enable the things that are priorities in my life. Now, it's important to note that for my boss, if you're listening, in my career, when I sit down to work, I hit it hard and I do the best job I can. But again, mentally, it's a means to an end. The end are faith, family, and art for me. So I would encourage you to kind of sit down and write out those priorities if you haven't already done so, and then decide what are the ends. In other words, what are the things that you're really shooting for? And do you have any things like a job that might be a means to that end? All right, number three, it's even a little bit more painful than priorities. It's time allocation. Oh yeah, the T word. So once you get your priorities kind of straightened out or really thought out in order, then I would encourage you to go back and think about how you're spending your days, your weeks, your months, and seeing if your time, how you're using your time, lines up with your priorities. So for example, if I say I'm all about family, but I never spend time talking to my wife, I never spend any time with the kids, then something's wrong, right? Either it's not really a priority or I've got something out of whack with the time. Well, the same is true for all of those priorities and how they connect up to your time. I ran into a situation a few years ago where I had to make a decision. Music, it's a big, huge thing. I want to make time for that. But I was also really enjoying the hobby of home brewing beer and mead. And I couldn't make them both work together time-wise. One of them had to go. So guess which one it was? Yeah, the home brewing got put on the shelf. I still have all the equipment, and I hope to pick it back up one day, but it had to take a rest to ensure that I had time for my music. All right, we're not done with time because life sometimes gets in the way and messes up the time that you have, doesn't it? Maybe there's a health issue. Maybe if you've got kids, maybe there's a kid issue, right? Maybe it's some other relational issue. I don't know, whatever, right? Life happens. Well, what do you do in that instance? Well, my advice for you, and this is because this has happened to me a lot over the years, is roll with the punches. When something comes up and it's really important and has to be dealt with, you got to deal with it. Don't sweat it and don't beat yourself up over it. Try not to get frustrated and know that the time will open up again where you can hop back into the music. So it's kind of a mental thing, right? Of not getting too despairing or frustrated when life gets in the way. We're still talking about time, aren't we? Yeah. The next thing I would suggest also is realizing that your life will go through different phases and different seasons in which different levels of time that you have available for making music occur. So again, my example, I've got a large family, a lot of kids. When they were all little, I didn't have near as much time to make music as I have now. I never stopped, but I really had to limit the time so that I could be a responsible parent along with my wife for our children. But now I'm older. Yes, I am. I know you didn't believe it, but I am. And time has opened up because my children are older now. Most of them are actually grown up, which is great. But all of us have those seasons in life. So again, my encouragement is don't sweat it. Understand the seasons of your life. Fit the music in appropriately for the season of life you're in, and then plan for seasons that will be coming perhaps where you have more time, and be prepared to take advantage of that time. Need a low E. Oh yeah. I could give you more tips and tricks, but I think you probably get the picture, right? It really starts with your identity. If you really view yourself as a musician, all of the other things that I mentioned are going to be driven by that identity, by that knowledge of who you are deep inside. So again, I would encourage you to kind of open up your heart, open up your mind, and look inside and really think about who you are, and then foster that identity of being a musician. Hope you'll subscribe to the channel here, and I've got this playlist of other musician life kinds of things. Hope you'll check it out, and I'll see all of you on the next video.